Good morning, everybody. We've still got a few more minutes, but I guess we could just use this time to see how everybody's doing so far. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, are you guys teaching during the summer, or are you here to get tips for your courses in the fall, or is it all of the above? So I see there's a few of you here. So are you guys teaching this semester? Are you getting ready for the fall? I kind of want to see where everybody's at. And you guys are more than welcome to unmute yourselves. If you want to share video, you can. If you don't, that's fine.
I'm looking for stuff for fall.
Okay. Is this Connie? Is that
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Great. And Bruce, what about you? Are you teaching this summer? Bruce, we can't really hear you. I see your mic is on and your webcam is on, but I can't hear you. If you want, you can type in the chat. Are you teaching this summer, or are you just getting ready for fall? No summer classes? Gotcha. Hi, Jean. I was just kind of chit-chatting with everybody coming in and asking them if they're teaching this summer or if they're here to get ideas for the fall. I'm pretty sure, I think you're teaching this summer.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. So, Jean, are you teaching this summer, or are you here to get ideas for your fall courses?
I am working on my fall classes.
Okay, great. So we've got a lot of people here to try and get some ideas for the fall, which is wonderful. It's nice to see people come in, because if you're not teaching in the summer, a lot of people we miss a lot of people in the summer, but that's great. We're so glad you're here.
The summer's the only time there is to actually work on a new format for the class.
I know, and since travel is so restricted now, it's like, you can't go on vacation during the summer like you normally do.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. So some of the things we'll be talking about today are just a few things that you can do to make your courses more engaging. And then we'll open up the floor, and hopefully you guys can share what you do, what you feel works, what hasn't worked. And you're more than welcome to share your video, or if you don't feel like sharing your video, you don't have to. And of course, just unmute yourself if you're gonna share with us at the second half of the session. And then Bruce is saying, not sure why his microphone's not working. Yeah, so you're preparing for the fall. So by your microphone, that first icon that says mute and unmute, there's a little down arrow, Bruce. It might be that it's detecting a different microphone than what you're using. So you can change your microphone if you click that drop down arrow by the microphone icon, and maybe kind of select a different microphone and see if that helps. Or if that doesn't work, if you click the drop down arrow by the microphone,
can you hear me
if
now?
you go in that menu,
Yes.
it says test speaker and microphone. So use that and then go through your different mic options and see if that works.
Bruce, I thought I heard you there for a minute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, if your mic acts up, just click that drop down arrow and kind of switch through those microphone options that you have there. All right, we're getting a lot more people in. And so while we wait for everybody to get in for us to start at 9, I was just kind of chit-chatting with everybody and trying to see, are you guys teaching in the summer, or are you guys here to prepare for the fall? And feel free to unmute. If you want to be on video, you can. If you want to shut your video down, that's fine as well. But I just kind of want to see those of you that have come in, are you teaching in the summer, or are you gearing up for the fall?
Fall
Hey,
semester
Vaughn.
for me.
Hi.
Hey Vaughn, this is Vanessa. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are
Doing
you
both.
You're
Doing
doing both.
both.
Okay. well, a lot of the people in here are saying, I'm getting ready for the fall. And so it's great to see people here taking time out from their summer to get ready for the fall. And so Betty, are you teaching this summer? I know you were doing comp exams, but I didn't know.
Yes, I'm doing both. I'm doing a summer 1, taking off summer 2, and then I'll be gearing up for the fall for everything online.
All right, great. Awesome. Well, we're filling up here. And I know, Bonnie, I know you had unmuted yourself earlier. Are you teaching this summer as well? No summer classes, but you're gearing up for the fall. Well, it's great. It's great to see you guys taking some time out from your summer. I know it's kind of crazy and we're all being pushed online really. And we're just hoping to get you guys some tips, and that way you can create some more engaging courses. I know we kind of have the face-to-face thing down, and it's a lot easier to gauge people's attention levels and read their faces. And it's a whole different ball game online. And so our goal with all of our sessions, and we'll have some more sessions coming up in July, we've got a whole set of trainings, but our goal is to really give you more tips and more ways that you can use technology to your advantage. And so we're hoping to get you what you need to get those courses to where they grab everybody's attention and keep it. And so let me see what time it is. So before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that you are free to be on video or not. You don't have to be. It's kind of more engaging when you are. And you can, I'm going to present for the first half. And so feel free to ask questions or jump in. We're just going to ask that you mute your mic while I'm presenting during that first half. But let me see. I was looking for my co-host, but I'm sure he'll be here. But anyway,
I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
There's just so many different people, on the video, and so.
I know. I was
morning,
like,
everybody.
Through the list. All right. So cool. My co-host is here. So my name is Yvonne Stevenson, and as you can see, Chris there, he's with me, and we're both co-hosting today, and we're both instructional designers here at WT. I know there's quite a bit, there's some new people in here, but there's a lot of returning people. So we're mainly introducing ourselves for those people that are brand new, and we're glad to have you here. So again, I've been chatting with people before, and thank you so much for taking time out of your summer to come learn with us and share also your experiences with online learning. And so just so everyone's aware of the session format, I'm going to give you a quick overview. And great. So everybody hopefully can see my screen. So the first half of our session is the learn portion. And this is going to be dedicated to 3 new tools that we're going to recommend to you for boosting engagement for your learners. So today you're going to learn how to enhance student assessment experiences by creating audio and video feedback. And you can do this in assignments and discussions in WT class. And then we're going to go over how to use OneDrive. And this is going to really help you empower teamwork among students. And we'll talk about how to share and collaborate on content, which is really cool about OneDrive. And then my wonderful co-host, Chris, will then go over the final tool in the learn portion, and he'll show you how to flip the retention center tool, which some of you may be aware of that tool, but some of you may not be. But he's going to teach you how to flip it and use it to make more regular positive email contact with your students. And so we'll explain more about that if you're wondering, what is the retention tool? And so that's the first half of this session. And then after that's complete, we're going to open up the floor to you guys. And then we want to get your thoughts and ideas. We want you to share, and then maybe you can tell us how you create online engagement, or if you think these tools would work or not work for you. So let me move on. So I'm going to go into our first tool. And so we're going to talk about audio and feedback. And so let me share this with you here. And so if you're in your course, I know you guys are hopefully familiar with assignments and discussion boards. And you know when you're getting ready to start grading, you will go to your needs grading area, or if you prefer, you go to the full grade center. There's different ways to get to all of your grading, but I'm going to click on needs grading. And so here I've got an assignment that a student has turned in and it's ready for me to grade. Well, I can do my usual thing. What I usually do is I can go in there and I can assign a grade and then maybe type a comment or two. But what we're going to show you today is how to leave that feedback. And so hopefully you're all familiar with this. Just so you know, later in our next update, they're going to actually change this inline grading view, and it's going to be called Blackboard Annotate, and it's going to have a whole lot of features. So instead of just having these annotation pencils here, you're going to have a whole lot more features. So that'll help with grading. But typically here your grade, and then you may leave a static comment, and then sometimes you don't know if students read your comments or not. The way you can make your feedback more engaging is by actually expanding the feedback panel here. And so you just click on that blue arrow, and here's the feedback to the learner. And so here you can attach files, you can spell check, but a lot of us didn't know that this was here. So if you click on this A here, you can click to open the full content editor, and then this screen pops up. And so this works best in Google Chrome. I know they say, oh, it works in Firefox, but I've never had any luck in getting this to work in Firefox. So if you're going to start grading, I highly recommend you start in Chrome and go to your feedback panel, click that A, and then this screen pops up. And so from here, all you have to do is click insert recording. It's this microphone icon. It's the first one on that third row. If this is, you can actually collapse, or if you don't see that, you can expand the menu there. And so once you click on that, it's super cool because it starts loading, and then it's going to ask you to enable your video or your microphone. Now by default, the video is off, so you have to give it permission. Because I've done this before, it's not asking me for permission. So regardless, maybe you've got a webcam at home. So regardless of if you're going to use your webcam video or not, you want to grant permission to your webcam anyway, because it's probably going to pick up the audio from your webcam. So if you deny access to your webcam, it's also going to deny the microphone. So you just give your permissions to your camera, just kind of like you do with Zoom and other applications. And then once you're ready to record, the default is set to turn off the video. Or if you want to give them video feedback, you want to actually be on camera, then you just click on that and it'll give you video. And I have a snap camera here, which is kind of fun because you can actually pick a filter and add that. Now you may not want to add that for feedback, but I've been kind of playing with that, and I was thinking, if you're interested, you might want to get that the snap camera filter and just make funny announcements, like do an announcement each week and give a brief overview of what students are supposed to be doing and have a funny filter. And I bet they'll tune in for that, and they'll know what to do that week for sure. And so you can give your permission to the camera, or you can not. And once you're ready to start recording, you just hit the record button. And so it gives you a nice countdown. And then you can start talking. And once you're done, or you can also pause or restart. And once you're done giving your feedback, then you can just hit stop recording. And so you get a preview of your recording. Now I always say double check, make sure that you can hear it, because if you can't hear it, or you can start talking. So and once you're done, don't hear the playback, something went wrong. That happened to me one of the times I was testing it. I recorded and then I went to play and nothing happened. So I just hit delete recording and then I started over. And so if you don't see or hear, then just delete it and start over. But the main point here is if I X out of this and if I don't save it, my feed is lost. So I'm going to make sure to hit save and exit. And then I'm prompted to rename it. Now it just automatically defaults to the date and time, which may be helpful, or you put it in the student's name. So this is, you can put feedback for your student. And then all you have to do is hit insert recording. And then you can add comments here. You can attach files. You can add images if you want, or you can just simply hit submit. And then it automatically inserts that audio file there or video file, depending what format you choose. And you can enter in your grade. And then you can hit submit. And then that's it. It's that simple. And so as a student, I'm going to go into my student preview because I gave myself some feedback just so you guys could see what it looks like. And so what students see on their end is they go to my grades and they can actually look at their assignment if it's been graded or not. They can see their grade, and in the comment bubble, if they click on that, it'll pop up the comments that you wrote in the box in addition with the feedback. And if they click on it, it pops up that same little window kind of that looked similar to what the window looked like when we recorded, and then they can hit play and replay and get that direct feedback from you. And so that's a really neat feature there. And I'm going to keep my preview data, that way I can go back to it if I need to. And so again, this is going to work best in Chrome, and just I'm going to give you guys some tips about feedback. So the great thing about this feature is that it can save you some time. Most of us can talk faster than we can type. And so if you turn that on and just give them their feedback, that would go a long way. So this feature has actually been here for a while, and we ran a report to see if people have been using it, and we found out nobody has. And it's like, well, we haven't told you guys about it, so how would you know? So we hope you take advantage of that. This can help you personalize your feedback, help you convey nuance. You can avoid miscommunication. Sometimes text can come off as a little rude sometimes, and they can capture the tone in your voice and facial expressions, and it'll probably help you be more connected, and the students will feel your presence on the course if you at least at some point try and give them some feedback this way. And so the thing about feedback is you make sure that it's frequent. Students rely a lot on feedback because it really guides their learning. So it's especially important in an online course where they may not see you face to face. Feedback is crucial in online courses. And so don't wait till the end, the very end. If you give feedback, in last week's class because you cram all your grading to the end, chances are they're not going to see your feedback, and it's not going to really be effective for them. And the next thing is you want to be specific. So typing in "this needs work" is not going to be as actionable as if you get more detailed and say specifics and give them exact details on exactly what needs to be corrected. And then you also want to give feedback that's balanced. And so I like the feedback sandwich. So basically it's you give corrective feedback in between positive feedback. So you make a nice little sandwich that's easy to, that's more nice on the palate. So you want to affirm their strengths and then balance with the flaws. And then last but not least, you want the feedback to be timely. So give feedback as soon as possible. And I know this is hard because there's so much for faculty to do in addition to teaching and advising and just everything else. But it's better if you can give feedback sooner while the assignment or whatever work discussions are exactly like they're still fresh in their mind. So feedback isn't as useful the longer you wait. So the sooner they get it, the sooner it's fresh in their mind, and it can really make more of an impact. And so use this to save time. Again, it's probably going to be easier just to talk about major points versus taking it all out and then having to go check, recheck, and do spell check and all of that. And so hopefully you can take advantage of that.
Yvonne, we have a few questions on the chat.
Yeah.
So,
Do we get some questions?
is there a way to see the paper while you're recording your feedback?
Yeah, that's kind of a drawback. You can't see the paper, but if you know how to work with Windows, you could open up the paper in one tab and then open up your grading feedback on another tab and just put them side by side, and then you could go through the paper. That way that can help you. But again, students won't be able to see your screen, but you could refer to specific points in the paper. So yeah, it's a little tricky because you can't actually show the paper or share your screen. But if you're good, if you know how to open up multiple tabs and put those on the screen at the same time, that can help you get through the feedback a little easier and actually refer to that paper. Great question.
Where does the video recording save?
It saves in Blackboard. So that's the great, that's what I love about this. Instead of you recording something, having to go to Ensemble and upload it, or having to go to YouTube if that's what you do, you don't have to do anything. This just records and saves it there. You can actually access these videos through your grade center. Like if you wanted to have them to keep track of them, like maybe you want to refer to them later. Now, the only drawback is you can't just make one video and reuse it for everybody. This is very individualized. So if you use it, you have to give individual feedback to everybody. And so if maybe if you're like, wow, that's way too much, or your class size is too large, you may want to consider doing responses for students on those introductory discussions. So it works the same thing. It works the same way in discussions. You click that content editor and expand it while you're grading, and you can leave feedback there. So that's how I would use it. I would use it at the start of class. Students could make their introduction posts, and I would just do a quick 30-second, 1-minute welcome and just make a point about their introduction post. And that will just, students I bet would be really excited to hear from you and know that, wow, they read my post and they know who I am. And now you've established that connection right at the start of class. So that's how I'd use it. It may not work for everybody to use it for every single assignment, but if you want to establish an online presence or make connections, use it for introduction posts.
And the last question, do we have a short video training for students?
Oh yeah. Yeah, students don't know how to check their grades, right? Another thing I want to tell you about is, in order to see comments, like if you make comments, even just the static text comments, students can't get to those if they're on their app, on the Blackboard app. They have to be on a computer and go into Blackboard on the web version, the full desktop version, to actually see those comments. So yes, I can definitely send out information on our website, and there's videos and there's also written instructions with screenshots on how students can go check their grades. But yeah, a lot of students don't know to click on My Grades, and there's nothing more frustrating than when you take all the time to give them feedback and then they never go read it. So yeah, definitely if you're going to use this feature, make sure that you make an announcement or put somewhere in the course, hey, I'm going to be leaving you video feedback. Here's how you can go check it. Great points. All right, so I'm going to go move into the OneDrive portion. So if you're new to OneDrive, it's a lot like Google Docs. And so it's basically Microsoft's version of the cloud. And everybody at WT, staff, faculty, and students all have access to free accounts, and we all get 1 big terabyte of storage in the cloud. But what's great about OneDrive is it's not just storage. You can actually use it to collaborate and share documents, and it makes it super simple. So the way you get to OneDrive is you go to onedrive.com, and then once you're here at top, you just sign in and then go through all the prompts. You're going to have to put in your WTMU email, and students can easily get through it, can get easily through their email. So I'm just going to log in real fast. And then because I've already logged in, you're actually prompted to Duo. So it adds a layer of security, which is really nice, especially if you're sharing, if you're in those courses that maybe have, like, I don't know, for nursing, they deal with patients. Counseling also has patients that they need to keep all the information private and make sure it's secure. And this is also good for people in education because they may be filming classrooms, and, you know, kids, they may be filming other students. And so this is a great way to share stuff that maybe you wouldn't want to share through YouTube or something like that. So this is a good way to keep everything secure. Now, when I came in here right away, this is how I can navigate through my files. If you've got WT class teams, you can access your files here. And so in my files, these are all my folders and files. When you go in there, yours will probably be empty, and I'm going to go into my demo folder here. And so basically everybody has access to this. So you don't have to have a full version of Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, because if I go up here to the new section and click that drop down arrow, I can start working within if I have the internet and I have a browser, I can start working on a Word document and all of these different types of files. So if I'm a student and you put me in a group and it's time to do group work and I haven't heard from my group, I'm wondering when are we going to get started, I can come in to OneDrive, select the Word document, and then it's going to open a web version of Microsoft. I don't have to do anything special, and I can start saying, you know, so I'm going to say group idea brainstorm. And let's say I'm anxious to get started. I can title this, add my ideas. I can come up here immediately and click the share button. And by the way, you can do this yourself too, between you and faculty members or you and your own students. You can create your own group document and share it with specific people. And so automatically it's set to allow others to edit, because typically you want to use this as a collaborative tool. You can either enter somebody's email address, but chances are you're going to be like me, you're not going to memorize all of your students' emails. So all you have to do is click copy link and then go back to WT class. You can send it in an email, or if I'm a student in a group, I can send this in an email or a course message to everybody in my group. The great thing about OneDrive is you can get the app on your phone. So I could actually text this to my group members. I can text them a link and we can all work on our phones wherever we're at. And so there's a lot of things you can do with this link. So I'm going to copy this link, and my menus are all hidden, and I'm going to put this in the chat. So you guys go to your chat and you can click on that link, and I'm inviting you to edit this. So go in there and type whatever you want. So the great thing about OneDrive is that we can start working live. Like, this can be asynchronous or synchronous, because if I'm working at 2 in the morning, I can send this to everybody else, and if somebody else is up, we can start working at the same time. Chris, you want to go in there and...
Yvonne, will you add it to the chat? I don't know if it went through.
Oh, I just sent it to Bonnie privately for some reason. I'm so sorry. There we go. And so Elizabeth said, remind me, if we're using OneDrive, is this emailing and chatting outside of Blackboard? Yes, this is. So like I said, you might want to copy this and keep track that you sent it in a course message or a class email, or you can send it in an announcement if you wanted to share a document, or you can share it within your lessons area in a folder. but you can always put all of these links within WT class. And so there we have people editing. We can edit things live. And so this is a great collaboration tool. And yeah, so I've got a ton of people. You guys can keep working in there. I'm going to go back to my folder. And so you can see, we can see everybody working in there. So that's, I mean, that's a great tool to have for students. And again, just because maybe we all, right now we're all together, but we may not be able to be together at another point, but this will give people access to these documents. And so there's my document. I haven't named it, but, and it tells me here that I'm sharing it. So if I upload my own documents in OneDrive, it's super easy. There's that share button again, and I can get these options. And so some of you may be wondering, well, what if I just want to share a document, but I don't want people editing it? I don't want people making any changes to it. Well, all you have to do is click on here where it says anyone can edit and uncheck this box here that says allow editing. And the cool thing about this is that you can set an expiration date. So if you have group assignment, maybe you have a specific prompt or a specific problem that you want each group to solve. You can give each group a specific link, put it in WT class, in the section, send it in an email, send it in a course message, however you want to share it. But you can put an expiration date on this stuff. So they can view it until certain date, or maybe they just can view it, but you don't want them to edit. Or if there's a document that you're sharing between colleagues and you don't want them to have the ability to download, you can block the download here. So there's lots of ways that you can share documents. You can even set a password. That way, if the link gets out to several people, only certain people have the password and can get to it. So there's all sorts of really cool options that you can use to share with students. And so I want to caution you against, if you're going to share with students, you may want to leave it to share with anybody with the link. Because if you share with only people with wtmu.edu, then that's going to exclude students, because remember, students' emails are at buffs.wtmu. Now we're working on a solution so where we can all use this and we can make it more secure, but that'll be in the future. But just, I would say, make sure and use that with anybody. Anybody who has the link can use it. And again, it's, you can ask for if you need to, for that added security. So the great thing about this here is it's awesome, because if you want to check, see people who participated in this document, or if you have a presentation, you can open up to view the file, you can preview it, you can share it, you can get the link for sharing. You can manage the access. Like, let's say if I'm like, okay, I'm done sharing with you guys. I don't want you in my document anymore. So I'm going to stop sharing with you. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then now that document that I shared with you is, when I reload, it's going to say it's private again. And so you may still be in it, but if you refresh your page, you're going to lose access. So now it's private, but I can see it was last modified by Lena. And so there's all these options for the documents. And what I like the best is, in my controller in the way, I've got to drag them out. If you're doing group work and you want to double check, you can go down into details, and details pops up a screen on the side, and I can see how many people viewed this, and it'll tell me who actually viewed it. And then I can see the activity. Okay, so these people actually edited the file. And so we can look at previous versions, who added what, and there's a version history there on who made changes and when. So this could be handy. And students may feel, a lot of students don't like group work because they say, well, I'm going to end up having to do the work, or it's not truly a group project. But you could let them know there's some accountability built into this, and you can always go back and check that. And so this is a great tool. I would say keep it in mind, especially if your students have to turn in PowerPoint presentations or large files, they can come in here, upload large files, because we all know there's size limits in WT class. You may assign them a video or a PowerPoint presentation, and then they email you saying, I can't get in, or I can't get my assignment in, it won't let me. And so just tell them, upload your file to OneDrive, get the shareable link, and then they can copy and paste that into their assignment Dropbox, into their discussion board, or an email or a message to you. And so just really quickly, I've got some collaboration tips for you guys. So if you're going to be making collaborative assignments, group assignments, try and create interdependence. Like if you're expecting a higher degree of collaboration, if collaboration is truly your goal, then structure the project so students are dependent on one another. So assign specific roles or have shared goals that everybody has to meet. But the more complex the group assignment is, the more likely it'll create interdependence. So the more simpler an assignment is, the most likely is they're just going to say, well, you do one paragraph, you do another paragraph, and then we'll come and put it back together in the end. And it's not really a team effort. So just try and create interdependence, and you might want to reduce the sizes of your groups. Some of the best collaboration projects that I had, like when I was doing online courses, is when they said, get with a partner. And I really got to know that person. And I think of one partner in particular, and we got to know each other. We did an amazing project together, and we're still friends to this day. So classes can build those relationships, and it's really neat. And it just depends on how you structure those group projects. And also you want to dedicate time to teamwork and team skills within the course. I think a lot of the times group projects are assigned and then that's it. It's just like you have a due date and that's it. But make time for the teamwork skills within your class. Like talk about how it relates to the field or your program or their career of choice. Like how is this meant to prepare them for the real world, so to speak. Talk about conflict resolution. Give students the opportunity to voice their anxieties or concerns about group work. Everybody's afraid that I'm going to do all the work and somebody else is going to do everything. So talk about those things. Establish rules, deadlines, milestones, and that's going to help. You may want to develop really good assessments so it's clear that what you have to do and what everybody's responsible for. And take time to communicate that in the course, and people will be a lot more invested in it, and they'll know, okay, this is a big deal because we're actually taking time out to talk about it. And then last, just build individual accountability into your group projects, because everybody's so afraid, well, I'm going to have to do all the work. And it's not fair because I did everything and they also got my good grade. So if you can maybe do a review. I had an online group project where the faculty member actually did peer reviews for everybody, and you had to do a self review. And so that was awesome because it was like half the group was on it and the other half wasn't. And so we got to let the professor know, hey, us three did all this and the other three didn't. And, they weighted all of that and it came out into a total grade. So it takes quite a bit of planning, but if you can build in individual accountability, chances are the group dynamic is going to go a lot smoother, and you'll have happier students because they'll be able to voice concerns and let you know what happened versus, okay, here you just get a grade. And so I'm going to switch now and hand over the session to Chris. And Chris is going to tell you all about his tool that he's going to share with you. I'm going to stop sharing, Chris. Okay,
that sounds good. I think one of the things that I just wanted to share real quick about OneDrive, is that you could use it for group assignments in a way where you create a document where they can sign up to be a part of a group. You can have students give feedback on their papers, and so then you can see those track revisions and who's participated, who's actually provided feedback before you give that final grade on that paper. So then you're incorporating ways that will engage your students to interact with each other, collaborate together, and give that feedback, peer-to-peer feedback. And so, because sometimes, or we have to think of ways where they can actually have some interaction in an online course. So you have your face-to-face course where they're able to give that feedback. And so this tool is a great way, especially if you're teaching online, for them to peer review papers before their final submission. And so I start to think of ways that you might use it, and then we can share it here in a little bit. I've been monitoring the chat, and I think it's great to have conversation around, like, what can we do to support, our students and your teaching. And so I think there's been some conversation about commenting and the grade book, and how do you ensure your students read the comments. And so, I think one of the things that can be daunting is that you're missing that face-to-face interaction where you can provide that comments and address those, or ask the student to come here and, wait, after class, I need to talk to you about these few things that I'm concerned about. And so when you're in an online course, it's really important that you create the culture that you want in an online course. You create that community. And so communicating with your students on, this is a video that you can watch to see how you access your feedback. It's important that you review the feedback and address it, so then when you turn in your assignment, next time you think of the feedback that I've provided you, and maybe even thinking about using a OneDrive document and putting your communication in it, or a Word document that you could easily just create simple messaging where you can send to them, so then they know, oh, I didn't check my feedback, and you just copy and paste it. And it's not really detailed, but it puts the ownership on the student to take a look at that feedback. I mean, you can't force students to check their feedback. You could reinforce, and that's all you can do. And so, and then as you build that culture of what they need to do to be successful in the class, that it's on them. You've provided all the tools. So hopefully that helps out. The next part, let me share my screen. Let's see. We're going to talk about is retention efforts, retention center demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a demo here in a second, but really I want to keep this part simple for you all to be able to use these tools, in the sense that you can monitor and support your student learning and engagement, support any students that are at risk, and then you can also customize to support high achieving students as well, just to provide some messaging that they're doing well in the course, and the messaging can be in a template in Word and or in WT Class or OneDrive, depending on where you want to save this, to communicate with your students. And so how many of you have used the Retention Center? Okay, so maybe a few of y'all, or you've seen it. There's so many different facets to the Retention Center, and so we have it turned on for faculty to be able to use. And so it's under evaluation, and so you'll see that this is where you'll get some course reports and Retention Center. This is where we get you'll be able to access the dashboard of the Retention Center, where you'll see all of your students, and you'll see any students that are at risk. And so you'll see this bar right here, which will allow you'll be able to click on it to have different views, where you can see different categories of information and communicate with those students if they missed an assignment. You'll be able to see your list of students here. So of course, this is a dev course, so this is not a real course. You'll have your list of students here, and you'll have these standard categories: missed deadlines, grade alerts, activity alerts. And then below that, you'll have your course activities. So any of the assignments that you have in Blackboard, you'll see that you'll see them here. You'll be able to access them here. So if I click on the link of an assignment, it'll take you to the item that might need to be graded. But more importantly, the retention center is really to help you communicate with your students in a way that you can provide that positive feedback, or you can provide needs improvement, like get them back on track in a sense, or just reinforce, hey, I'm concerned, please send me an email. And I'll share some of the templates that we've created. And I'm sure you guys have some communication that you already, communicate. And so then you could use this to communicate with a certain group of students. And so so the course activity is going to be underneath the table. You'll be able to see any of the different interaction collaboration. So if you have your discussion boards or any of the other features where your students are participating, you'll be able to click on those different activities. Also, it also has your announcements area right here. So it's really just an overview of what's happening in your course. And then below, it has this standard of course design needs improvement feedback. And so as you use the different features in Blackboard, it will have some information there where you can reflect and think about, okay, how can I, make improvements in my course? But to the right, you'll be able to see, your students that you're monitoring right here, and then you'll see other information, which will be any rules that you decide to customize and create. So this is where you'll be able to create a rule for any students that are below maybe a 60 or below 20% of the class average, or you want to put any students that are making a 85 and higher, so then you can communicate with them a positive message. And so I think just to keep it really simple as an overview, it's really important to use the retention center to customize it in a way that you can communicate positive and maybe needs improvement feedback. And so to customize it, you're going to click on this customize bar right here at the top right. There are going to be 4 of the rules that will be standard. So you'll have your activity rule, your course rule. I'm going to go into another course real quick so you can just see what's standard. Let's see. Evaluation, retention center, customize. Okay, so these are the standard: default activity rule, default course access rule, default grade rule, and then default missed deadline rule. And so then you'll see the criteria right over here on the left side or the right side of your screen, and you can edit that criteria based on what you would like to change it to. So perhaps you want to change the rules or the criteria for the missed deadline. You'll click on edit, and you'll be able to change the title of that rule. You'll be able to include it in the risk table or not. Since there is since the risk table is already built out for you all, it's already at capacity. And so if you're creating new ones, you'll have to click no. It's a weird thing that you have to remember. The reason being is that it will list your, let's see, it will list the ones that you create on the right side underneath right here. You'll see your new criteria right here. So you'll be able to communicate with the students in that way. And so let me go back to here. So, and then you can change your criteria for your missed deadlines. Is it, a deadline has been missed by more than 2 days, 1 day? You can monitor specific deadlines. You can select the course item. So if you have different assignments that you want to monitor the deadlines, you can get, you can be as specific as that. I would recommend if you all are, using this the first time, you might want to just monitor all course deadlines and anything that is more than 1 day or 0 days. And then click submit. I'm going to change that to 1. Also, you could think about last access. You might want to edit that, especially if you're going to be teaching online, where you want to, when was the last time they've accessed this course? In an online course, they should be accessing the course probably every day throughout the week, or every other day, depending on how much time they spend in reading the materials, completing their assignment. And so you might want to change that to 2 days and click submit. And then you can go in and add your rules. So I'm going to click create rule, and we're going to do a grade rule. And so I'm going to do 85 and higher grades. I'm not going to include it in the risk table, and I am going to keep it as monitor final grade. And I'm going to include set grade value above 85, and then click submit. So it'll track the students that are making 85 and higher, and so you communicate with that group of students to let them know, hey, you're doing a great job, keep up, the good work that you're doing, and then you can also create additional rules for below. So then you'll go click create rule, click grade rule, and then let's say below maybe 60. I'm going to select no, and then set grade value to below 60%. And so then you can communicate with this group of students in a way that they need to stay on track and keep up with the work in your course. And so then now that you have created these rules, which took me 30 seconds. I know you guys are you've learned 3 different tools in a short time. And so now that you've created these rules, you can easily communicate with your students. So you'll want to prepare your template for positive and maybe reinforcement communication in a way that will continue to remind them to keep on track with the work. So you could put your templates in a part of your course, or you can keep it on a Word document or on a OneDrive file. But what I did is I went into student resources. I created a folder just for faculty resources, and it's hidden. And so then when you click on it, it has my positive feedback templates. It has my follow-up improvement templates, where it really puts the ownership on the students or celebrates the success that they're accomplishing in your course. And so you're receiving this email because you're on track to making an A in this course. Keep up the good work. You're receiving this email because you're close to making a B for this course. Keep studying and turning in your assignments on time. If you have any questions on your assignments, please do not hesitate to contact me. So it's really not detailed communication, but quick reinforcements, whether it's positive or needs for improvement. So these other ones for needs for improvement are, dear student, please note you've missed a number of days in class. It's important to attend class. Please review the syllabus per attendance requirements. This is blank is a percentage of your overall grade. Let me know if you have questions. Dear student, I've noticed you have access to the course materials and assignments online sent, and then you can put the date. It is important to access your course materials on WT Class and complete your assignments on or before the deadline, and so on and so forth. And so, and the last one is, I'm concerned about your grade due to missed assignments. And so just creating these templates so that you communicate with your students in Retention Center. So click on Retention Center. And again, this is the overview of what you will see. You'll see all of your students. If you click on this bar, it separates it into different categories. So 13 missed deadlines, 1 student has low grade, did not contribute. And so when you click on one of the bars, you can click on, this window will pop up and you'll be able to notify all these students. So then I'd click notify, click students. Then what you could do is copy those messages into this message right here, depending on what you're emailing them about, and then click submit. And so they'll get that message that they missed a deadline and they need to stay on track, and that they know that you're there, helping them through this, through the online course or hybrid course or whichever method you guys are using WT class. The other thing right here, where if you have new rules that you've created that are positive, so external grade is above 85%, so then you could email this student and then click notify and email that student that you're on track, and you'll be able to just celebrate their success through this retention effort. And then any other, so this one's below 84, but you can create a rule that's below 60, and so then you'll have the same mechanism where you'll be able to click on the students and then notify that group of students. So simply, I think this retention center will help faculty communicate positive and maybe needs improvement communication in a way that it's in a few clicks. And then also it helps you think of saving some of those standard communication that you can share with your students. Let's see. So the tips: create your template messages, access your retention center and your evaluation. Go ahead and explore it. I would suggest going into one of your spring courses just to see how it is, and maybe even include, create some of those customized rules for grade or attendance, and see how that looks like on your end. And then go through the process of, like, how do you notify? You don't need to submit it and send it to your students, but so you can test it out, so you can support your student retention and share positive messages with your students. So that was a lot of 3 tools for you all to think about. How can I promote interaction, engagement with my students in an online course? I think all of you have ideas that are worth sharing to help us during these times as you get prepared for the fall, or if you're currently teaching this summer. And so I think the best way for us to have a thoughtful discussion is to kind of either raise your hand on the tools to say that you want to share, or we can do call out. I could call out on someone, and then you share some ideas, and then you call out on another person to share ideas. It's like a tag and share.
So does anybody want to open up?
Five seconds, and then I'm going to
I
tag.
will. I was
There we
getting This is Jean. I'm really confused about OneDrive. What is the purpose?
So, Jean, OneDrive is actually cloud storage. If you're familiar with Google Drive, it's Microsoft's version of cloud storage. And so cloud storage, instead of having you tied down, I saved all my stuff on my computer in my office, or I have all of my materials.
I know cloud storage. Why would I use this in a class?
To build collaboration between students.
They have discussion groups for that already inside Blackboard. Why do I need a different tool?
Yvonne, can I jump in?
Sure.
Okay, Jean, I think one of the things that I like about the OneCloud is that I can get the students to work on a paper together, for instance.
I don't want them working on a paper together.
Okay. But that's what I do, and I can see them working and pushing in the different parts. So for instance, during the semester, they develop ideas about a topic, a concept. And then I have 3 students who work together in basically merging those concepts together, merging those ideas on one concepts together, writing a paper that holds the road together. Whereas they have written a paper, a separate paper. The OneDrive allows the students to work. I do not allow them to download it so that I know that it stays there, and they have to really edit together. And so, you know, when you look at publishing, for instance, for us, it is really rare, and I don't know about your area, but my area, it is extremely rare to work by myself on a paper. I usually work with 3, 4, 5 colleagues. And so we use that a lot, and I'm trying to train the students to be able to do that. So it's just a different way.
And historians, if you had 2 authors on a paper, you're going to be just laughed at.
And that's
work.
Yeah, and I think it's a difference in area. And so for my students, I'm training them to actually work with others, because this is extremely rare to have only one author you know, by themselves on something, and they really have to communicate and make the paper flow in a way that that it doesn't look disjointed. So that's my experience with it. And I know that your area might be a little bit different.
Well, and so thanks so much, Vanessa, for sharing that. And so our goal with sharing all of these tips, we're not saying you must use these and you have to find a purpose for these in your course, because they may not be for everybody. So it's up to you if you want to use these tools. If you think they're completely useless and they're not going to work for your course or your area, you are not obligated to use them. And so
in my classes, if students are collaborating like that, I call that cheating. They're supposed to do their own work. Sure.
And we get that. And one of the ways other people have used this is they might do collaborative notes. If there's a lot of information in the lecture, then maybe they could view the lecture together and use this to do collaborative notes or something. But again, if this doesn't work for you, Jean, you do not have to use it.
Well, the students put together those GroupMe things, and they're all chatting it to each other on their phones outside of class anyway. All this would do would let me peek in on what they're talking about, right?
Well, one of the things, Jean, that it will do is it will be able for you to monitor, you know, who says what and who does the work. And that's, you know, when I have students that come in and say, there's this group member that is not participating, it allows me to go in and actually have data to be able to see this, and not just one person saying against another. So, and it reassures, I don't tell the students exactly where I find the information, but I do tell them that, you know, I can see who puts the work, and I appreciate when, you know, if they feel like they're cheated, they can share and make an appointment with me and just talk about it. And it allows me to really see, you know, how much work, and if it's not just somebody whining about, you know, something that is really not legitimate.
Okay.
Does anybody want to share their strategies for engaging learners? They don't have to be necessarily anything dealing with the tools that we've shown you today, but do you guys want to share some ideas, what works, what you've tried, what maybe didn't work?
I used Mentimeter in a training recently, and that was kind of cool because the participants were able to respond and see everyone else's work. Like that one was a word cloud, so the answers popped into a word cloud, and it's really evident the gist of what everybody's feeling and what the responses were. So I used Mentimeter, but the only problem with that is the free version is worth 2 days. And so I was wondering if Top Hat had any use for us within Blackboard. So does Top Hat and Blackboard talk?
I think there was something in the process for that. Now, Top Hat is not under ITS, so we're not really familiar with the details yet, but if I remember correctly, and maybe Krista knows a little bit more, but it did come across our desk, and I'm not sure if it got approved to be incorporated into WT class.
That would really be something good, because then you can get on the spot feedback and students can see others' feedback, sort of like a classroom response, but it would be online.
Yes. So another thing you might be interested if you want to do a classroom response thing where you can ask questions is you can use the polling feature in Zoom. And so all you have to do is when you log into your settings, you go and activate the poll and you can put in poll questions beforehand. They can be opinion or they can have a correct answer, and you can just quiz students in the middle of your session or have them participate in some type of question if you're interested in that. But I love Mentimeter. It's awesome. But yeah, the drawback is the free version. It's only good for 2 days, but it's a great way to add some interaction.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Betty. Anybody else want to share some tools they use or what they like to create engagement online?
I'll talk again. And I make sure that every class I have, no matter how big it is, their discussion groups are only about 10 people. And this lets them think that they are in a small class, that they're getting individual attention, that they are important in the class. And I respond to each of them individually in their comments, and I'll send them messages, and I do all sorts of stuff. And they seem to be pretty engaged. I mean, you always have the ones who don't want to put any effort into the class. But by the end of the class, they are very committed to their group, and they make friends. And I see them in subsequent classes, and they'll say, "Oh yes, you were in the 1301, yes." And so they do get engaged, and with me and with each other, just in the discussion groups. But you have to have small groups. Big groups are not good for engagement, and it is a pain to set up all those discussion groups.
Yes, that's awesome, Jean. So what's your average class size?
50-ish.
50. Yeah, imagine a discussion board with 50 people. What a mess.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so 4
I
or
think
5
it's
groups per
definitely
class.
beneficial. It takes a little time, like you said, it's a pain, a little work on the front end. And if you guys are interested in learning about how to set up groups within a course and how to give them like their own group discussion areas and stuff, we can definitely put a training on for that. But oh, that's a great tip for.
No, I don't use the groups function because of the way the Blackboard grade book is set up. It's crap, by the way. I have to create individual discussion groups for each chapter. So I'm creating 5 groups per chapter for 14 chapters. That's a lot of discussion forums to create.
And so how do you break them up? Is it just random? You just go by names or?
I go by last name, so I can see them in the grade book easily, who's in what group.
That's neat. That's awesome. Great tips. Any other tips from anybody else? Any comments on the tools we presented, or did that maybe get you thinking about how you could use something in your course? Is anything useful in this? Do you feel like you're going to use this, or?
I am going to try the video audio comments today.
Awesome. Great. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I have a question too. In the chat, Alex mentioned that he would put comments in but not put grades in. When I do that, the comments disappear. How can you keep the comments before you put in a grade?
I think when you hit save, I think you have to put in a grade in order for the comments to save, if I remember correctly. I'll have to test that.
I think he said he put the grade in the comment box.
Oh, okay.
And once they saw it, he would transfer it into the.
Before
Is that right?
before I got more adept at this, I guess, when I was still just kind of figuring things out myself, my assignments weren't linked to the grade book. So I would have to put in the grades manually. But the upside to that is I did have that control. I would put the grade in the comment after the paper. And then when I realized the advantage of that, I kept doing that because I liked that. It gave me control over how I was presenting the grade to the student, because I just thought that a good number of them would see the grade and never see the comment. And that to me seems counterproductive to what I understand myself to be doing as a teacher. And I think this is one of the ways that the software, that this platform kind of tries to make me do things in a certain way that are counter to my own pedagogical approach or values even. So I really do think that's an issue that should be addressed somehow.
Yes, and it's very important if you're going to do comments and take all that time, or maybe you have a rubric, send out an email, let students know that I finished grading and here's audio comments, you'll find a rubric. And I sent out a link to a video to everybody that shows students how they can check their grades. So you could send out an announcement once you're done grading and put that link in there. That way there's absolutely no questions on how to do that. And they'll hopefully be more likely to look at your comments. And again, sometimes it's this because they go on the app and you can't see comments on the app. It's a very abridged version of Blackboard. So
I have to say that just strikes me as, I'm really truly shocked about that. I can't believe that there's no way for them to see comments on their phones.
They can't submit assignments on their phones either a lot of the time. They think they do, and then nothing comes through.
Yeah,
saying there's a phone app is a lie, because it doesn't work.
Yeah, we've experienced a lot of issues with that, and we send our suggestions, and we're just hoping that they can update it and keep making it more robust. But it's really hard to build an app with all of these features that are in the full desktop version. So if you can at all, tell your students, get on that desktop and that desktop version. You need to have a computer if you're going to be taking a course online. And if they have any issues, they can come to the help desk, and we can help them out maybe with technology. If they have a need and they don't have a working computer, we can try and help them with that.
If the campus is open.
Well, our team has done a lot to get everybody on track, and if there's a need, we'll find a way to get equipment to students. All right. Well, if there's no more comments or questions, I want to be respectful of everybody's time and just thank everybody for getting information overload today with all of these tools, and for being so interactive and voicing your concerns and what you do. I think we got a lot out of this session. Thank you guys so much. Any final thoughts?
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thanks. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.